Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at the first, and the only at this point, Spanish ship in the game. This is the Canarias, the Spanish Tier 6 heavy cruiser. Now, the Canarias was if she looks somewhat familiar, that is because that is a modified county class design. This is a ship that was built by a Vickers Armstrong subsidiary after a modified British design. The ship was somewhat active during the Spanish Civil War, which was effectively the fascists and the communists slugging it out for who's going to run the country. The fascists did win, and she was the flagship of that faction at the time and was responsible for a couple of destroyer kills. And then actually remained the flagship in service of the Spanish Navy until the 1970s, I think, when she was decommissioned. So this ship definitely existed and got around. What I'm not sure about is that historical camouflage, because that is it's a bit lazy, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if the Spanish really made their ships look like that, but it's literally Spanish flags painted on the sides of the turrets and the sides of the boat, on both sides, and waving on the mast here. I don't know if that was if that's what that ship really looked like, historically camouflaged, but maybe. Not from the pictures I've seen. Anyway, so given that this is a town class ship, we're going to have to actually do a bit of a comparison. And I think I've still got the ones from the last video in here, so let's change that quickly. I was not remembering to remove those. We are going to need a town class cruiser, so we're going to need something British here. And yeah, the Devonshire is going to do the trick. So let's add the Devonshire here. And then we can compare the two of them. There we go. So the first thing that we'll notice is the Canarias gets engine boosts, 3 of them. That's a fair amount. And gets sonar, whereas the Brit gets the defensive AA. So already looks like a slightly different kind of ship. She's a bit sturdier, but not an awful lot. She's a little bit faster, but noticeably less maneuverable in return. I'm not quite sure why that would be, but okay. So 9.6 second turn time base is relatively high for a cruiser. And yes, she is a heavy cruiser, although these are not the same guns that you find on the Devonshire. I think these are lighter turrets in the end that the Spanish ended up using. So the reload is a bit faster, and the range is a little bit better. But there's something very strange about these guns. Well, there are 2 things that are a little bit strange about the gun. The first one is that you can only fire armor piercing with them. The second one is that the armor piercing damage is actually pretty bad. 690. I think that's about what the Nürnberg's doing at tier 6 with the 150s. And that thing's got an under 8 second reload and 9 of them. So compared to the British, who are not particularly well known for having great armor piercing shells in game, these are significantly worse. So what gives? She also gets a secondary battery of 120mm guns. What she does not get is torpedo tubes. I don't know what the Spanish did with the torpedo tubes. I'm relatively certain that when she was constructed, she did have them. But in-game she does not get. So this is a heavy cruiser without torpedo tubes. And the AA is markedly absent, and the surface detection is slightly worse. Why is the AP-only heavy cruiser, and maybe this will end up being the gimmick for the Spanish ships, I don't know, but why is the AP-only, we're looking here, the AP-only heavy cruiser thing a bit of an issue? Well, because of overpenetration. This ship cannot effectively fight destroyers of of closer than 6 kilometers. If you get too close, you do have a hydro, which is good, but don't be thinking of this as a destroyer hunter, because you'll overpenetrate at close ranges, at very close ranges. So you want to fight destroyers at arm's length, which means the hydro is more for spotting torpedoes, presumably, than for dispatching destroyers out of their smoke, because then you'll find very quickly that your main guns are absolutely ineffective and will just overpenetrate destroyers. The same problem or similar problem with the low alpha damage is that you have against battleships, because you are going to, well, you can't set them on fire and you're not going to do an awful lot of damage against them. And you still have a relatively long reload. So yeah, that can be a bit of a pickle, so you definitely need to know where and when to use them. I am assuming that it has something to do with the lighter build or the lighter construction of the turrets that Wargaming decided to give them less damage. They do have a bit faster reload than the Brit though. And we don't find an awful lot of heavy cruisers at tier 6. There's the Alba. But other than that, there's one thing though that we do find at tier 6 in abundance, and that is very, very lightly armored cruisers. And against those things, she is very, very dangerous. So what can we see in terms of elite bonus? It's the normal stuff, right? There's nothing special here. No need to buff the AA. Buffing something that isn't there in the first place doesn't make it any better. And we can either get reload time or hit points. I was going for reload time here because my rate of fire is all I've got if I'm gonna have to deal with like a battleship or something, because you obviously can't brawl anything, and you're gonna have to fire at longer range. And this is also reflected in the equipment, because I am actually using the main battery mod 2, which the turrets are very, very happy, even though they are somewhat of a lighter build, very happy to take on. So I don't think I've been losing turrets very frequently. So this is something that works pretty well. And with the surprisingly sluggish rudder, having double steering, I think is kind of a good choice, even though it means that you don't get the propulsion mod in the second slot. Now I think. Or I don't think there are many Spanish commanders just yet. I'm not sure if they are in the commander crate. We can have a quick look by now if they are there. So if we just look at the commander crates, do we see anything Spanish in here? Pan-Asian, European? No, we have Dutch commanders, but we don't have Spanish commanders yet. So unless the commander was somewhere in the Blitz pass, because this is the ship from the. Is it still running from the Blitz pass? I think it is still running. Unless the commander is somewhere in there, then you're going to have to wait for some Spanish commanders to show up at some point in time. Anyway, we don't really know what to do with it yet, so there's no real big surprises here. I have no idea if and when we get a tech tree line and what that might look like, so there's really no point in speculating. Obviously, the one thing you would eventually want is the APCS, because you are, well, you don't have any AG. So don't use the IFAG, because that'd be useless. Also, don't use the Giant Hunter, because you also don't get any torpedoes. But yeah, other than that, we got the ship. The historical camo, as weird as it might look, gives us hit points, gives us range on the large caliber AA, which we really don't care about, and torpedo damage reduction, which we really don't care about that much either. But it's tier 6, so it's a premium, so it's probably reasonably affordable. And with that, we get the main battery down to an 8.75 second reload, which is actually not dreadful for heavy cruiser guns. And like I said, you find a lot of light cruisers around that tier, which you can and will do very, very unpleasant things to with these guns. So yeah, that's what we have, and that's what we got to play with. So let's go. The first battle. We are bottom tier. It's a tier 7 game, and we're up against Ranger, Nagato, Fuso, another Canarias, an Alba, a Scorner, and a Mayhem. Now, generally, if you were in a British cruiser, doing some AA support is something that you could, consider. Not so much in this thing. It's really not quite the same. So, not much use of us to be anywhere near the planes and give air support. But against the destroyers, we can be somewhat effective if we're keeping our range. We've got Gneise now and something else with us here. Couldn't quite see it, but I'm going to head over in towards C Cup because, well, one thing that the Canarias is, she is quick. So with the engine boost up, she does over 37 knots, which is Soviet or Japanese levels of speed. There's the enemy Canarias over there. But there's a destroyer in C cup. You can see it because I can't see him. I am spotted, and the destroyer is capping, obviously. And there is the Scorner, so there will be torpedoes in the water. We're just changing our course here and trying to line up a shot. This is a good distance, 6 to 7 kilometers. We're not going to over-penetrate, but obviously it takes a while for the shells to get there, so the Scorner is moving. And we have taken a torpedo. I'm not sure from what, honestly. I did not see any torpedoes, so I think the game bugged out here to some degrees. I think I took a Scorner torpedo that I couldn't see. So, but the enemy Canarias has taken a bit of a beating. Gneisenau is pushing up, and I am just looping around and trying to reacquire things. There's an enemy battleship over there as well, so I do have to be somewhat careful. Gneisenau isn't pushing any further. Enemy Canarias comes out again. But it looks like we may be holding the other 2 caps, unless things go sideways. So, yeah, Canarias at this range, Gneisenau, broadside might be a good target. I'm trying to get there, but he is staying out of range. There come the Scorner torpedoes again. Scorner is going undetected, and I don't really have a way of pushing into that because there's a Fuso over there, and even though that's just a Tier 6 battleship, yeah, that can make very, very short work of me. But now the Fuso is behind an island, so I can get myself back into the capture circle and see if I can either take out the low health Canarias that's coming around on the other side there, or if I can do something about the Scorner. Now, the Scorner is reloading very quickly, so I do have to be careful, but I do have sonar, which can be used to detect torpedoes, not just ships. Canarias misses, so do I. I've only got 1 hit in. And there come the inevitable Scorner torpedoes. Yep, okay, so now I know where the Scorner is. He is going left, and I am just really trying to finish off the Canarias here and grab the capture circle. But yeah, there's the Scorner, there's the Fuso, still can't shoot at me. Scorner is going up against the repulse. So let's try to once again do some fire support against that thing from over here. There comes the carrier again. He seems to be hell-bent on trying to kill me. There come the torpedo bombers, but I've got my focus on. Yep, took a carrier torpedo here, but that's okay. I have the damage control ready, and the Brooklyn actually manages to take out the Scorner. Well done, so that thing's gone. It looks like the Gneisenau has not been pushing against the low health Canarias and the Fuso, but I don't have time to look into that, because there's an Auber coming around the corner. Now, Auber has torpedoes. There is also a heavy cruiser, so sonar up just to see where his torpedoes are going, if he's got any away. And like I said, against cruisers, these guns are great. Okay, hold on. There's a Mayhem. Okay, engine boost up. I need all the acceleration and speed I can get, and see where the Mayhem is going to drop his torpedoes. Okay, he's going in the turn. He's going to see. Yeah, he's going to drop right there. Okay, I've still got the sonar running, so full on reverse, hard left, and dodge these torpedoes. Poorly aimed. If he knew that I was, well, he couldn't have pushed in here because I'm right next to, I'm not sure, half of our team, but yeah, these torpedoes haven't hit. But if he knew that I was just going to over-penetrate him, now this range, 6 to 7 kilometers, is a different story with these relatively low penetration 203mm guns. Another salvo out, let's see if we can get him. There is Auber coming around again. Auber does have torpedoes, and I am probably just about in range of those, so I do have to be careful. I also don't know when Mayhem is going to reload, but the Canarias is pretty precise with her guns, so you can do a surprising amount of damage. And yeah, there come some torpedoes. These are probably a Mayhem spread. Not sure if the Auber had angles into these, but I'm stopping anyway, and that should be a dead Auber. Yep, Auber dead. And the Mayhem has committed a cardinal error and is coming around again for a fight. So he hasn't learned yet that at this range I am very, very deadly, and that is an ex-Mayhem. There come the Auber torps, didn't need Hydro to spot these, and that is pretty much the team cleared up. I'm just running the sonar now in case the Mayhem had his other launchers reloaded, but it doesn't look like. So in these sort of fights against other cruisers and destroyers, if you can keep your range up and you don't want to be at max range because you're not going to hit anything, but something like that 7 kilometers is a decent range. Yep, that was a shot from the Nagato that hurt. So do have to be careful. Against battleships, you're not particularly effective, because that is sort of where you just want to be kiting away or staying at max range, because you're not gonna do an awful lot, honestly. Okay, Nagato is dodging torpedoes and is not shooting at me, but you see I'm not doing anything, and there's not really anything I can do other than try to target his weak spots in the bow section, but he's already dead. So that is pretty much game, and I believe that would be a Ruffle Stomp medal. Because there's only the enemy carrier left, and one of our cruisers is probably the Brooklyn, is already in hot pursuit, and the friendly carrier is about to wipe him out as well. So I think that may be it for this game. Yeah, it's a weird cruiser. It has its ranges where it's effective, but it doesn't really have. It doesn't really work very well against, say, battleships or carriers, and it only works against other cruisers, and the Brooklyn takes out the Ranger. That well done. It only works against other cruisers at certain ranges, and the friendly Saipan takes the MVP, as Saipans do, if the respective players know what they're doing. We haven't done an awful lot of damage, but we've been useful in containing that Alba and the Mayan. So, the other thing that I mentioned, let's go again. The other thing that I mentioned was that if you're up against light cruisers, that is a target that you're very, very, very well suited to deal with. So here we are in a tier 6 battle. Double Fuso, Agincourt, and Galissonnière de Grasse, which is basically the same thing, and a Marblehead, and a Furutaka and a bot, which it doesn't really count. So in this kind of situation, the heavy cruiser guns are actually quite effective. Right, what are we playing? Scorching Islands. Scorching Islands is a fun map. I like Scorching Islands. The other thing that's really nice about the Canarias is the speed, because you can get yourself into a position or out of a position relatively quickly. And if you know the torpedo ranges of the things that you're facing, then you can usually play that quite effectively. The only thing that's really, really tricky is if battleships are zoning in at you. That's when you're going to have to try and play at long range and see if you can get somebody else to shoot at them, because you're not going to do an awful lot. I've got an Alba with me. I'm putting up the engine boost just to head around that outer island, and there's something going to come between these two islands, almost guaranteed. And whatever it is, it's going to not have a great time. So we'll see if we can do some spotting, because there is a destroyer in our team and he's on the other side. Okay, we've got the bot Furutaka. We might as well shoot at it. The surface detection is not great, so you do have to be careful. There's the Marblehead. So that's 2 of them. Not concerned about the Marblehead, but there's more stuff, and they're battleships. So that is something I'm concerned about. Marblehead is stopping. There's the Agincourt. Agincourt fires high explosive, which is okay. You can do that in an Agincourt. Probably not against the cruiser, but yeah. Anyway, let's get the bot out of the way, although the bot is about to eat a whole bunch of torpedoes. And is that a dead Furutaka? Probably not. Let's help it along a little bit and just make sure that, that he's gone. Marblehead is going defensive. I mean, what other choice does he have? And I'm not going to push any further forward, because there are there's a line of 2 battleships over there, and that's not something that I necessarily want to get into range of. And I don't need to get any closer to the Marblehead. I don't have torpedoes or anything anyway. I can perfectly fine deal with that thing from this range. So you now run into an island, which happens. Islands are always surprising, these buggers. So I can still back off a little further. I've almost got an 11 kilometer range, and I can use the Fuso as a meat shield against the enemy battleship fire coming in there. And the Marblehead is still operating within my gun range, so I can still make myself useful. The enemy team is down, obviously, 1 cruiser. That was the bot. Surprisingly, our bot's still alive, but yeah, not anymore. Okay, so we're even again. And I'm just trying to focus that Marblehead down, because the Marblehead is not a good cruiser. It's a pretty terrible ship in my opinion, but it can still be annoying, and it can still set fires and do things. And in mid-tier, you never know. But one thing, if I can divert your gaze to the map just very briefly, is look at where our team is clustered up. Oh my goodness, that's not even a lemming train, it's a lemming cluster. So engine boost up, and I'm heading over to the other side of the map because that was a citadel from one of the battleships. Not sure who that was, might have been the Fuso over there. But I did manage to catch the Marblehead. I wanted that thing gone, and now it's run very, very quickly. That was probably you. Let's see if I can return the favor a little bit. He's not shooting at me anymore. Yeah, I need to run very quickly to the other end of the map, just wiggling the ship to make sure that long-range battleship fire is not going to catch me. But our western flank is completely open, and yeah, the Normandy, who has been, I don't know what he's been doing, but he's dead now. So there's a de Grasse coming. These things are quick as well, and they have torpedoes. So I do need to be careful. He does seem to have some lag issues, but yeah, that's a light cruiser. Remember what I said about light cruisers. That's something that I can do against light cruisers. So there's the other cruiser on our team. There's the de Grasse lag hopping. There's the other cruiser on our team coming along as well. There come the torpedoes. That's why I've got the hydro running. So just put her in reverse, steer a little bit, and then you're not in any danger of taking those torpedoes. And in a de Grasse, you really don't want to be sitting broadside onto a heavy cruiser. That is not something that is particularly healthy for you. So that thing is going to be dead in a second, and then we've at least got that side cleaned up, and be one kill ahead again. Nice that the other cruiser on our team came along. So yeah, the Alba, that was the Alba. Good job, Alba. He spotted it as well, that we were completely open on this side, and came along. So what does it look like now? We're one kill ahead. That's a good job. I think he misunderstood me there, because I think he's. I'm not sure if he's apologizing, maybe thinking that it was about a kill steal, and I was like, no, that's not what I meant. I meant you did well. Here you go, good job. No, so sorry if you misunderstood me there. Bad comms. What we got? We've got Fuso, but there's some. Okay, there's the Galissonière over there, and we are one kill ahead. But I have no idea what our. I have no idea what our destroyer or our battleships are looking like. So let's dodge the Galissonière torps that are obviously coming. And the Alba calls out the Galissonière. Now, unfortunately, and I am once again giving broadside here to the Fuso, that's why I'm wiggling the ship a lot. The Alba goes the close way around, which means he's going to be straight in front of that Fuso, and that means he's going to be a very, very dead Alba in a second. Which means we are going to be once again even on score. So yeah, that Alba is dead. Look at all the battleships he's pushing into. That's not happening. And I am trying to catch that Galissonière because he's the most likely target that I can actually sink. There's nothing I can do about the battleships in a minute 20 seconds. So any second now the Alba is going to be dead. And then yeah, Galissonière takes out the Alba. Alba still got the torpedoes away, but that Galissonière is a very, very nimble ship, and I don't think he's going to take those. No, they wouldn't have had range. So now we're actually behind because they have 3 battleships and we only have 2. So score-wise, we are behind. The Galissonière is very dangerous for our destroyer, so I need to catch the attention of the Galissonière. Obviously trying to dodge the torpedoes, and the Galissonière repeats the mistake that the de Grasse has done earlier. Yep, there come the torpedoes. I'm going to have to take one because I need to kill that Galissonière. We're still 10 points behind and I don't know what the battleships are looking like. And I don't want to get any closer to the enemy battle line. So I need to get all my guns on target. 30 seconds remaining. Galissonière needs to die. Destroyer is far away enough, but fortunately the Galissonière is not shooting at the destroyer, but is shooting at me. Now he's going for a turn. He should have gotten bow in and reverse, but now he's dead. So now we're ahead on points, and now I need to just not die. So let's see. I'm just going to go undetected if I can. Maybe I can still get a shot off. Yeah, I can still get a shot off. We only got 10 seconds left. That would have to be a very lucky salvo. And I just don't have the range to take out the Agincourt there. I might have actually even taken him. But it looks like we managed to pull the win off. That took a bit of doing. But yeah, like I said, against light cruisers, which is something that you will find quite a lot in Tier 5 and 6, this thing is excellent. She's an absolutely excellent ship to deal with enemy light cruisers. It's great fun. Everything else, she can be a bit niche. Not good against carriers, pretty useless against battleships, except for drawing fire and trying to dodge at long range. Destroyers, as long as the ideal range is somewhere around 6 kilometers, or 6 to 7. Any further than that, and you're going to have a hard time hitting them. Any closer than that, and you're going to start over-penetrating, and you can't switch to the high explosive. The secondaries are useless. Just don't. I mean, you can use them in a brawl if you happen to be in one, and anything strays into the range of these things. But other than that, most of the time you wouldn't be using them. So just play it more like a Belfast, maybe, like a sort of heavy cruiser version of that. And this on the paper didn't look like a great ship, but because of the tier, can actually work really, really well if you're up against a bunch of light cruisers, because she has absolutely no problems in taking these things down, especially if they're giving you flat broadside. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.